Hello and welcome to the Luv Doc podcast with hosts Waldo Wachewski and Ophelia Bruschi.
Today we're plunging into, well, a really fascinating relationship conundrum. It's one where, seemingly small things can reveal quite a lot about respect and connection.
Mm-hmm.
We're dissecting Luv Doc. It's this notoriously candid advice column, often quite funny, actually.
Right. Very direct.
Exactly. And it lays bare a situation that I think many of us might recognize. A young relationship, kind of at a crossroads.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to follow this story from someone called Longrider, unpack the doc's pretty blunt advice, and see what universal truths we can pull out about kindness, consideration, the signals in a partnership.
It's a perfect case study, really, because what often gets dismissed as just like a minor logistical thing.
Right, like who drives where.
Exactly. It can actually be a flashing red light about the underlying dynamics, the expectations. So we're not just looking at what happened, but what do these actions actually signify? What's the state of the romance? And why understanding these signals is so crucial for you, when you're assessing your own relationships.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Our listener, Longrider, she's been with her boyfriend since freshman year at UT. So this isn't new.
Right. Established relationships.
Years.
Yeah.
And last year, she suggested they move in together, which is a pretty big step.
Definitely. A significant milestone.
But he'd already committed to getting an apartment with his best friend.
Yeah. Okay.
She says she was hurt by this, understandably, I think, but she accepted it. So now the setup is she's in a small place in West Campus with friends while he's got this much larger, nicer two-bed, two-bath in North Austin.
Okay, so right there, that immediately raises a question, doesn't it? About prioritization and future orientation within a long-term relationship. When your partner chooses, living with a friend over even exploring cohabitation, especially after years together.
What does that say?
What message does that send about how they see the relationship's trajectory, their commitment level? It's subtle, maybe, but significant. It hints, perhaps, at different timelines, or maybe just different levels of seriousness about taking that next step. It doesn't automatically mean no to the relationship itself, but
it suggests it wasn't his top priority for that big life step.
Exactly. It wasn't the primary focus for planning something like moving in together.
Okay. And this dynamic, this setup, then led to a really key moment because his apartment is the bigger, nicer one.
Right. The default hangout spot.
Yeah. Longrider usually goes to his place. But here's the rub. She doesn't have a car.
Okay.
And getting there by bus, it's a solid 30, maybe 40 minutes. Depends on the time of day.
Ooh, that's a commitment each time.
It really is. And she's complained, she says, multiple times about this long, kind of inconvenient commute. But he always has an excuse for why he can't pick her up. It's a recurring thing.
Always. That word is doing a lot of work there. If we connect this to, the broader psychology of relationships, these repeated excuses around convenience, around effort, they can seriously erode trust and mutual respect. This isn't just about a bus ride, is it? It's about emotional labor.
Explain that a bit more. Emotional labor.
It's about who carries the mental load, the planning load, the inconvenience load, who's consistently expected to bear the burden of effort, of discomfort.
Got it.
When one person's comfort, their time, is consistently prioritized over the others, that sends a really clear and damaging message about who's valued more.
Yeah.
And who's expected to put in the work. It creates this imbalance. And over time, that imbalance can be just incredibly corrosive.
That makes sense. Consistent prioritization.
Yeah.
But I wonder, is there ever a scenario where maybe he genuinely can't pick her up and she's maybe being a bit rigid? Or is the pattern just everything?
That's a fair question, actually, and it highlights that crucial difference between, an isolated incident and a chronic pattern.
Yeah.
Of course, things come up. Life happens. A ride isn't always possible, and a healthy relationship needs flexibility and understanding.
But she said multiple times.
Exactly. Longrider explicitly says she's complained multiple times, and he always has an excuse. That consistency is the key signal here.
Right.
It suggests a lack of proactive problem solving on his part. Or maybe just a fundamental unwillingness to adjust his own, minor convenience for her significant inconvenience. It points to a deeper pattern, maybe disengagement from that shared responsibility you expect in a partnership.
And this pattern, it seems, finally came to a head. There was a confrontation. Last Friday, She basically said, look, I just don't have the energy for the bus ride tonight. I'm staying home.
Okay, setting a boundary.
Yeah. And his reaction, and well, you said it, signals are key. He actually got upset.
Upset? How?
He told her it sounded like she wanted to hang out with her friends more than him.
Wow, okay. Deflection.
Totally. She clarified, like, no, it's really just about the bus ride. I'm tired. He did eventually agree to pick her up.
Okay, so he did it.
He did. But then apparently seemed annoyed the entire night.
Ugh, that dynamic is so critical. Instead of, acknowledging her valid fatigue.
Right, or validating her feelings.
Or even just offering a solution to this recurring problem that clearly affects her.
Right.
He immediately shifted the blame.
Yeah, made it about her not wanting to see him.
He weaponized her feelings about the commute, twisted it into this commentary on her desire, her affection, that kind of response. It often shows a real lack of empathy, defensiveness too, and just an unwillingness to engage constructively, for the relationship's benefit. It's almost like a form of, emotional gaslighting maybe.
How so?
Where her legitimate frustration, her tiredness gets reframed as her personal failing, her lack of affection. That doesn't build connection, it just builds resentment.
Yeah, definitely. So this brings us back to her original question. Is she wrong to be upset here, or is he?
A fundamental question.
Well, the Luv Doc has let's say, a very blunt answer.
I bet.
The doc says, quote, "You're wrong to be upset, but only because you should have ditched this loser the first time he made you take a 40-minute bus ride to avoid his own inconvenience."
Whoa. Okay. Ditch this loser. Doesn't pull any punches.
Not at all. And for some listeners, that might feel, overly harsh, too immediate. What makes the doc deliver such a cutting assessment right off the bat?
Well, the language is definitely direct, maybe even intentionally provocative, right? To cut through the noise, the self-doubt, the stories we tell ourselves about relationships.
Okay.
But underneath that bluntness, there's a really profound point. The doc goes on to clarify this isn't a gender issue.
Right. That's important.
It's a kindness issue.
Yeah.
A generosity issue. And, quote, why am I spending my precious time with this loser issue?
Kindness and generosity.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that immediate reframing. The core problem, as the doc sees it, isn't about roles or, old-fashioned expectations. It's about fundamental human qualities, kindness, generosity.
Pillars of any relationship, really.
Critical pillars. In any healthy, evolving relationship, doesn't matter about gender, anything else. They show how much someone values your comfort, your well-being, how much they value the relationship itself, frankly. And when those foundational things are just consistently missing, the doc suggests, the relationship's already on pretty shaky ground.
Holy crap. You're psychotically obsessed with the Luv Doc, but can't think of a flashy gauche way to share your obsession with the world? Stop thinking and make a beeline for the Luv Doc's home sweet home on the interwebs, thepleasurecraft.com, where you can find a veritable treasure trove of sick merch that will make even your coolest friends super gel. Honestly, I don't know why you didn't already think of this yourself, but you're welcome. Have fun on the Pleasure Craft. It was made just for you. Let me spell it out for you one more time. www.thepleasurecraft.com.
So to really hammer home how weak the boyfriend's excuses are, the doc gives these hilariously extreme examples of legitimate reasons not to pick someone up.
Yes, the analogies.
Like scheduling a cable installation with one of those ridiculous 8 a.m. to midnight windows.
Right, we've all been there.
Or an angel of the Lord announcing the second coming.
Okay, definitely legitimate then.
And they even drop some specific political names, comparing being left hanging to Ted Cruz during a natural disaster or Josh Hawley on January 6th.
Yeah, the doc certainly uses strong, culturally specific examples there to make a point. And, just to be clear for our listeners, we're relaying these examples directly from the Luv Doc. Our goal isn't to endorse any political view, but to understand the doc's argument. They're using these highly charged public situations to draw a parallel.
To the perceived lack of empathy or accountability.
Exactly. A parallel to the boyfriend's minor, but repeated, inconsideration. The underlying principle the doc is highlighting is accountability. People notice when you seem to prioritize your own comfort, even in small ways, during a critical moment for someone else.
Especially when a simple act could help.
Precisely. Especially when a simple act of generosity is right there. It's about seeing that these daily inconveniences, this lack of thoughtful action, it often comes from a deeper lack of genuine consideration. It's the pattern again, the repeated lack of effort and empathy.
Okay. And the doc's conclusion from this pattern, they don't mince words. Quote, "Your boyfriend making you take the bus is a pretty solid sign the romance has ended."
Wow. That's a heavy statement. The romance has ended.
Yeah. Almost devastating for Long Rider to read, I imagine.
It raises a really important question, though. What does the romance has ended actually mean here?
Right. It doesn't necessarily mean they broke up.
No, not necessarily a dramatic breakup or like a sudden switch off of feelings. More often, I think, it's about the slow, almost imperceptible erosion of those specific behaviors.
Behaviors like what?
Like the proactive care, the spontaneous effort, prioritizing your partner's comfort, their emotional well-being, the things that really define a vibrant, mutually supportive, romantic partnership.
Okay.
It shifts from being about us to being about me, where one person's needs, or even just convenience, are consistently put ahead of the other's well-being.
So the romance, the active part, might have just fizzled out on his
It
side.
might have quietly fizzled out, yeah, long before Long Rider fully realized it. And the evidence is these repeated small slights. The annoyance he showed when he did pick her up, the persistent lack of trying to solve the problem together. So it's not a declaration that the relationship is totally over, perhaps, but that the romantic spark, that mutual effort, the adoration, the special consideration, that part has died. Or at least it's dormant in him.
Leaving a void.
Exactly. A void where that shared, caring partnership should be.
Now, the doc does acknowledge another perspective. Briefly,
Oh.
they mention that, quote, surely some professional therapists out there who might applaud your boyfriend for clearly stating his needs and not knuckling under to some epigenetic martyr complex or some outdated notion of chivalry.
Huh. Epigenetic martyr complex. That's quite a phrase.
It is. What does the doc mean by that, do you think?
Well, it's the doc's colorful, maybe slightly dramatic way of describing like a deep-seated tendency, maybe even feeling like it's inherited towards self-sacrifice, putting others first to an unhealthy degree.
Okay, so the doc is saying some therapists might see this as him setting boundaries.
Right. And advocating for individual needs, setting healthy boundaries, that is generally a good thing. It's encouraged in modern relationships, but
The doc dismisses it here.
swiftly dismisses it in this specific case. They frame that view as merely, quote, rationalizing spending the rest of your life with an asshole.
Wow. Again, very blunt.
Very. But the distinction is important. There's a huge difference between setting healthy boundaries that actually foster mutual respect and consistently prioritizing your own comfort at the direct expense of your partner's well-being and convenience, especially in a long-term relationship that's supposed to be about shared lives, mutual support.
Context matters. The pattern matters.
Immensely. Healthy boundaries protect your energy, your well-being. This behavior seems to protect his convenience at her cost. That's the difference. The doc's harsh assessment asshole, it's based on that pattern, not just the simple act of stating a need one time.
Got it. Okay, the doc also offers a kind of public service announcement for single people.
Oh, yeah.
Quote, when you offer someone you're attracted to a ride home and they say, no, I'll just take the bus, that's a really good sign you might want to update your Tinder profile.
Huh. That's fascinating, isn't it? How quickly the doc connects that small act, or the refusal of it, to the basic viability of a potential connection.
Yeah, it's immediate.
It underscores that these early signals, kindness, generosity, they aren't just, polite gestures. They're powerful indicators.
Of deeper respect, compatibility.
Exactly. They say a lot about how someone might treat you long term. When someone actively refuses a simple act of care from someone they're potentially interested in, it could reveal a mismatch in how you both approach connection, mutual support.
Like an early screening tool.
Kinda, yeah. A little flag.
But finally, despite all the bluntness, the doc does end on a hopeful note for Long Rider.
Good.
Tells her that there is someone probably here in Austin, or even more specifically at UT, who will treat you with kindness, generosity, and perhaps even adoration.
And that message of hope is crucial, isn't it? It's not just about finding someone nice.
Right. It's more specific.
It's about finding someone whose actions consistently show genuine care, generosity, a desire for your comfort, your happiness, someone who treats you with adoration. That's not just someone who says they care.
Someone who shows it.
Shows it through proactive effort, small acts of service, a willingness to share the load, of life's little inconveniences. So for Long Rider, and really for any listener, this means understanding your own worth and setting expectations for that reciprocal effort. It's about seeking a partnership where kindness and generosity aren't like optional extras.
They're non-negotiable foundation.
Exactly. Non-negotiable.
So wrapping this up, what have we really learned from the Luv Doc? For me, it's just such a powerful reminder These seemingly small actions, offering a ride, making an effort to share convenience, they're actually huge indicators.
Huge, of kindness, generosity, overall respect.
Yeah. And it highlights how important it is to recognize when that mutual effort, that emotional labor you mentioned, that basic consideration, when it's just not there anymore.
And what that might signify for the future.
These aren't just minor annoyances you should ignore. They can be symptoms of a deeper imbalance.
Which really brings the question back to you, the listener. Are the actions in your own relationships consistently reflecting the kindness and generosity you deserve? Is that effort truly mutual?
Or is one person doing all the sacrificing, bearing all the inconvenience, always initiating the problem solving?
Right. Take stock of those everyday interactions. Because sometimes the simplest, most consistent acts of consideration or the lack of them speak volumes about the true state of a romantic connection.
And whether it really has the foundation to flourish.
Or if maybe the romance, as the Luv Doc so bluntly put it, has quietly ended.
To read the column that spawned this podcast, go to austinchronicle.com/columns/the Luv Doc. There are probably worse things to do with your time, right?